Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be building us a bass busting swim jig. We all know that the bass love to chew on brim, so I thought today we'd build us a brim pattern. Can't wait to get started, so let's get to it. Okay folks, before we get to tying, I want to run through our materials list. The first layer that we'll be putting on is this black and orange. This came from a local fly shop here. The next layer is this, came from Fishing Skirts. It's called Summer Craw. I really like this for these brim patterns. The next layer is the Albino Speckle. This is going to be kind of the side and not really the belly, but the side of the fish. Also comes from Fishing Skirts. And the last one I got from Barlow's. It's a holographic gold. It's kind of hard to see the gold. You can see it, there it is a little bit. But we'll just be using 5 strands of this. We're just trying to pick up some of that gold that we saw in the picture also. We'll be using a green pumpkin weed guard. This is a FG30.021. And then we'll be using some 3D eyes from Barlow's. It's called Black Chrome. These are 5/32. And we'll be using some UV resin. This will help to hold our eyes on and the weed guard in the jig. Again, came from Amazon. And then I guess the most important is the jig head. Poured this using the Do It casting jig mold. This is a 3/8. On the top I've got green pumpkin. It's got a white base. Got some sapphire blue sprinkled in on the bottom to give us those blue gills that we saw in the picture. But this is going to be our jig head. Again, this is a 3/8 swim jig. So that's all the materials. Nothing to do now, but let's get to tying. Okay folks, we got the jig in the vise, and the first thing we're going to do as usual is I'm going to start off with some clear fingernail polish. I use Sally Hansen, just a little dab of do ya, and then we're going to start our base. And I don't think I mentioned this, but this is a 210 denier flat wax nylon. It's in green pumpkin, and I got this from Barlow's. I'll trim off our tag end and just keep working towards the shoulder. Then we're going to wrap back towards the head. Got us a good base going here. So our first layer is going to be our orange. We want this on the bottom, so we need to remember this jig going through the water. This is the bottom of it. I'm just going to lay it up here. I'm going to try to get it a little bit past halfway. We're just going to put 3 loose wraps on it, just to kind of hold it in place. And then now I want to flip it over and see how we line up. So it's short, as usual. I almost always do it, but it's easy to slide it around, and now we've got it just like we want it. We're measuring to make sure they're even on the ends. So we're just going to move it around a little bit. I don't want this to go very far, so I'm just going to kind of get it just on the shoulder. There we go. I'll let you all see. And then I like to try to move that thread right up to the head of it. I'm going to give it a squeeze and mash on it. Pull it tight. Then I'm going to get me 4 tight wraps. And check it out. Yep, that looks good. So now we're ready for our next layer. And this one, this is our green, goes on the top as it's coming through the water, so we've rolled it over. I'm just going to line it up with the end of this one because we've already measured it, so it should be pretty close. And I'm just going to hold it right here on top of the jig. Again, get our 3 loose wraps. Now this one I want to spread out a little bit. I want it to come halfway around the jig. Or actually, I'm going to go all the way to the orange with this one. Make sure we got some good even coverage. So we'll check it out. Yep, this looks good. I'm going to slide my thread up. Again, I've said this before. I don't know that it's necessary. It's just something I do. Makes me feel better, I guess. I'm going to put our clips on here. Hold it. Try to hold everything down. And this seems to help me keep from trapping the silicone when I start to tie. Now that I got everything caught, I'm going to take one last look. That's about halfway. That's about halfway. That looks good. And just like before, it's a little tricky with that hook there, but I'm going to squeeze tight and mash down, and then we can pull to tighten it up and hold it in place. Yep, didn't move, so we're good. Now I'm going to give it good 4 good tight wraps again. Oh, and right there, see, I trapped some of that orange, so I want to fix that. I'm going to come all the way back till I fix it. There we go. All right, now let's look again. Sure, this rotary vise makes that nice. It makes it a lot easier to check on it. And so now we're going to put our next layer on, and the rest of them, they all go on pretty much the same, so we'll probably end up speeding this up and putting it to music. So we finished getting it all tied up. Now all we need to do is get our eyes put on and our weed guard. So I'm just going to kind of grab all of this, get it all caught up so it doesn't end up getting glued into something that we don't want it glued into. Wrap that around. And like I always say, just want to remind you, make sure these tips are pointing to the side or down, because if they're pointed up, they will get in the way. So let's load it up in the vise and let's get our weed guard put in. All right, there we go. So I'm just going to put a little drop of super glue on here. This is just to hold it in place while we're working with it. Just going to put a little dab on there. And stick it in so it holds it in place. We'll put our super glue up. And now for the UV resin. And I just want a very small drop on there. Want to stand it up in the vise. Just kind of bump it a little bit to help it disperse around there where I want it to be. Hope that's not making too much noise on the video. But that looks good. We got some good coverage on it. And so now we're just going to put the blue light on it. Or the UV light, sorry. Doesn't take a whole lot of time for this. All we're trying to do with this is to make it stop running so it'll hold where it's at. Once we're done, we'll put it in the UV box, and usually about 10 minutes, and it'll be hard as a rock. So that's good for that part. I'll change the angle up a little bit. Hopefully we can get it where you can see what I'm doing. And so we're going to put the eyes on it. If you don't have the UV resin, then you can always put a little drop of super glue on the jig head, but since I'm going to cover it with resin, I'm just going to use the adhesive that's on there right now. Push it over where I want it. There we go. And flip him around on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. And slip it in there. Yep, it looks like where I want it. And then I've got a special little tool that I made. It's literally just a coffee stir stick, and I just made some little balls on the end of it with the UV resin, so they're all good and hard, but this helps me smooth out this UV resin, get it where I want it. So I'm just going to put another little bitty tiny drop on there. Now I'm going to take my little special tool and I'm just going to move that around. I don't want it sticking up. I want it to be a real thin layer. And we're going to do the same thing. Put the UV light on it. Just a little bit, and that's good enough. Then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Get those bubbles out. And before the drop really falls off, I just want to touch it. That's a little more than I usually want, but that's the good thing about this little handy tool here. I can spread it out. It doesn't stand up on top of the eye, and you can't see it, and it doesn't affect how it runs through the water. And now we'll do the UV light. And so now all it needs is some time in the UV box. Alright folks, so we've got it out of the UV box, trimmed up the skirt a little bit, and we put a special trailer on this jig. This trailer was shot specifically for this bait. Shot this earlier. I haven't got brave enough to video those yet, but maybe before long we will. But I shot this using the Epic bait mold. This is the 3.3 sleigh bait. Almost forgot the name of it. It's one of my favorite molds for trailers. I'll see you what one of these looks like. It's kind of hard to see all the colors in here. There's some warmouth from 8-Bit Baits that gives it a gold shine, but can't really get it to show up on the camera. Earlier today when I was setting up to shoot these videos, I knocked over one of my lights and lost a bulb, so only got one. But that's the bait. So let me know in the comments what you think about it. Did we hit the mark on the color match? Do you think it'll work? So just leave us a comment. I hope y'all enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. If you did like what you saw, please subscribe, like, and share with somebody else. But most importantly, y'all get to fishing.